डॉक्टर B.R. मुनि महोदय, आज के मुख्य वक्ता अतिथि डॉक्टर फणिकांत मिश्र महोदय तथा इस सभागार में उपस्थित विद्वद्जन, अधिकारियों एवं साथियों, कला, संस्कृति एवं पुरातत्व धरोहर रूपी राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय के इस सभागार में आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन एवं स्वागत है। जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय में प्रत्येक महीना एक सार्वजनिक व्याख्यान का आयोजन किया जाता है, जिसका उद्देश्य प्राचीन इतिहास, कला, संस्कृति एवं पुरातत्व के प्रति जागरूकता तो फैलाना है ही, साथ ही ज्ञानवर्धन भी करना है। इसी कड़ी में आयोजित आज के व्याख्यान का विषय है बुद्धिस्ट स्तूपास एट देवर कठार, अर्थात देवर कोठार की बौद्ध स्तूपें। यह व्याख्यान बड़ा ही रोचक और सारगर्भित होने वाला है। आज के विषय पर हमारे मुख्य वक्ता अतिथि सुप्रसिद्ध पुराविद डॉक्टर फणिकांत मिश्र महोदय द्वारा प्रकाश डाला जाएगा, जो हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं। करतल ध्वनि से इनका स्वागत करें। महोदय, सर्वप्रथम राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय आपका कृतज्ञ है कि आपने सार्वजनिक व्याख्यान के लिए हमारा आमंत्रण स्वीकार किया। आप मौलाना अबुल कलाम आजाद प्रौद्योगिकी विश्वविद्यालय कोलकाता में हेरिटेज सेल के निदेशक हैं। आप मिथिला के सुप्रसिद्ध पुरातत्वविद स्वर्गीय विजयकांत मिश्र के पुत्र हैं, जिन्होंने प्राचीन पाटलिपुत्र और वैशाली का उत्खनन किया था। आप लब्ध प्रतिष्ठ संस्कृत विद्वान और दार्शनिक महामहोपाध्याय डॉक्टर उमेश मिश्र के पौत्र और मिथिला के सुविख्यात विचारकों में से एक और मैथिली पंडितों के रत्न महामहोपाध्याय पंडित जयदेव मिश्र के परपौत्र हैं। आपके पितामह महामहोपाध्याय डॉक्टर उमेश मिश्र KSD विश्वविद्यालय के संस्थापक कुलपति रहे थे। आपने अपने पेशेवर करियर की शुरुआत एक पुरातत्ववेत्ता के रूप में की थी। आप एक उत्खननकर्ता और अन्वेषक तो हैं ही, साथ ही स्मारकों और स्थलों के वैज्ञानिक संरक्षण में भी विशेषज्ञ हैं। आपने लगातार 2 सीजन 2007-8 और 2008-9 में बिहार के जिला नालंदा के बेगमपुर और घोड़ा कटोरा में उत्खनन किया था। आपके सक्षम मार्गदर्शन और नेतृत्व में बिहार के कई ऐतिहासिक स्मारकों का संरक्षण किया गया, जिनमें नालंदा मठ नालंदा, महाबोधि मंदिर बोधगया, शेर शाह का मकबरा सासाराम, कुम्हरार पटना शहर में मौर्य महल और सारनाथ में बौद्ध खंडहर शामिल हैं। आप अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ख्याति के विद्वान रहे हैं और आपने कला, पुरातत्व, संरक्षण और पुनर्स्थापन के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर कई शोध पत्रों में योगदान दिया है। आपने लगभग 2 दर्जन शोध पत्र और कई किताबें लिखी हैं, जैसे द होयसल 1979, द कदम्स 1979, हिस्ट्री ऑफ आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर ऑफ द होयसल 1980, आर्कियोलॉजिकल एक्सप्लोरेशन इन सिक्किम 2008। बैकवुड्स टू वर्ल्ड स्टेज नामक पुस्तक स्वयं में एक अनूठा मोनोग्राफ है। आप इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस, न्यूमिस्मेटिक सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया, इंडियन आर्ट हिस्ट्री कांग्रेस, मिथिला संस्कृत इंस्टीट्यूट, इंडिया हेरिटेज सेंटर, इंडिया आर्कियोलॉजिकल सोसाइटी जैसे कई मान्यता प्राप्त अकादमिक और व्यावसायिक निकायों के वास्तविक सदस्य रहे हैं। आपने विशेष रूप से संरक्षण से संबंधित क्षेत्रों में बहुसांस्कृतिक मुद्दों पर कार्यशालाओं और सेमिनारों में भाग लेने के लिए जर्मनी, थाईलैंड, जापान और अफगानिस्तान जैसे देशों की व्यापक यात्रा की है। 2 मई 2014 को आपको बुद्ध के भिक्षा पात्र की प्रामाणिकता का पता लगाने और इससे संबंधित रहस्य को उजागर करने के लिए भारत सरकार द्वारा राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय काबुल, अफगानिस्तान में प्रतिनियुक्त किया गया था। आपने बुद्ध के भिक्षा पात्र के संबंध में कुछ महत्वपूर्ण टिप्पणियां दी और आपके द्वारा एक रिपोर्ट सरकार को सौंपी गई। आपने यह बताया कि बलुआ पत्थर का भिक्षा पात्र तथागत का भिक्षा पात्र था, जो मूल रूप से वैशाली का था और उसे विदेशी भूमि पर ले जाया गया था। इस खोज से देश को प्राचीन विरासत को पुनर्स्थापित करने में काफी सहायता मिली। आप पुरातात्विक अवशेषों के विश्लेषण और व्याख्या में विशेषज्ञता के साथ एक प्रेरक पुरातत्वविद हैं, साथ ही विरासत प्रबंधन की दुनिया में एक कुशल प्रशासक और नीति निर्माता भी हैं। यहाँ मैं सभागार में उपस्थित विद्वद्जनों को यह भी बताना चाहूंगा कि डॉक्टर मिश्र महोदय ने देवर कोठार में बौद्ध स्तूप परिसर, खजुराहो में बीजा मंदिर मंदिर के खंडहर और वैशाली से बुद्ध के भिक्षा पात्र की पहचान जो राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय काबुल में रखी गई है, जैसे दिलचस्प खोजों को अमली जामा पहनाया है। तो एक बार मैं सभागार से पुनः अनुरोध करता हूं कि महोदय का पुनः स्वागत करें जोरदार करतल ध्वनि से। और यह एक विशिष्ट संयोग और सौभाग्य है कि वर्तमान में हमारे महानिदेशक एवं आईआईएच के वाइस चांसलर आदरणीय डॉक्टर बी.आर. मनी महोदय स्वयं एक लब्ध प्रतिष्ठित इतिहास पुरातत्ववेत्ता हैं, जिन्होंने 25 से अधिक उत्खनन परियोजनाओं का नेतृत्व किया है, जिनमें से कुछ हैं लालकोट दिल्ली, सलीमगढ़ दिल्ली, मोहम्मदनगर और हरनील हरियाणा, सिसवानिया, संकिशा अयोध्या, लाठिया यूपी, कनिष्पुर अम्बरम जम्मू कश्मीर, अयोध्या यूपी और हाल ही में कुनाल हरियाणा। आप पिछले कई दशक से मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम श्री राम के जन्मभूमि के उत्खनन के प्रधान सूत्रधार होने के कारण पुरातत्व के विश्व पटल पर सकारात्मक परिचर्चा के केंद्र में रहे हैं। आप महाराष्ट्र, गोवा, जम्मू कश्मीर और दिल्ली में स्मारकों के संरक्षण में भी शामिल रहे हैं। अपने इन राज्यों में कुछ महत्वपूर्ण पुरातात्विक स्थलों के साथ साथ विशिष्ट पुरातात्विक स्थलों की खोज की है। महोदय, आपने कुषाण सिविलाइजेशन 1987, दिल्ली थ्रेशोल्ड ऑफ द ओरिएंट 1997, सारनाथ आर्कियोलॉजी आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर 2006, एंशिएंट गांधार देन एंड नाउ 2009 जैसी कई पुस्तकों का प्रकाशन किया है। आपके लगभग 200 से भी ज्यादा शोध पत्र प्रकाशित हो चुके हैं, जो भारतीय कला और पुरातत्व के विविध पहलुओं पर प्रकाश डालते हैं। अतः मैं महानिदेशक महोदय से आग्रह करता हूं, कृपया मंच पर आएं और दर्शक दीर्घा को अपने उद्बोधन से संबोधित करें। महानिदेशक महोदय, करताल ध्वनि से महोदय का स्वागत करें।
Honorable Dr. P.K. Mishra and distinguished guests, officers and staff of National Museum present in this hall. It is my pleasure to welcome you all, particularly today's speaker, Dr. Mishra, with whom we had very long association in the Archaeological Survey of India, officially, and personally I can say that for the last 4 generations, our friendship is continuing. I remember to have a small digging at Nalanda with Dr. Mishra, in which a very beautiful Vishnu sculpture was found. And I also remember the sites like Deur Kothar, which Dr. Mishra had excavated in Madhya Pradesh when he was superintending archaeologist of Bhopal Circle of ASI, when I was superintending archaeologist of Delhi Circle. He is also credited to have located and exposed the plinth of an unknown temple at Khajuraho. He has, my colleague Rajesh has just mentioned the details where he has worked. And about his contribution to the knowledge on archaeology. He is the great grandson of the great Sanskrit scholar Mahamahopadhyay Pandit Jaydev Mishra. His family is illustrious family, very well known in Mithila. His grandfather, he was also Mahamahopadhyay. Mahamahopadhyay, Pandit Umesh Mishra, was professor in Allahabad University, and then he also became Vice Chancellor of Darbhanga University. His father, Dr. Vijayakant Mishra, though he passed away very early, but he was superintending archaeologist of many circles where he worked, and he excavated the important sites like Vaishali and also in Patliputra or Patna, the famous palace area of the Mauryans. Devar Kothar, as Dr. Mishra will be explaining you the details, so I am not going into the details of that particular site, because it is a very fascinating site, and you will come across when you hear Dr. Mishra himself speaking about the particular site. In fact, I had requested him to give this public lecture in the National Museum on this particular issue. Otherwise, he has got lots of other discoveries which he had made, on which he can speak. So, not remaining in between you and Dr. Mishra, I'll take your leave. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद महोदय। अब मैं महानिदेशक महोदय से आग्रह करता हूं कि वे मुख्य वक्ता डॉक्टर फणिकांत मिश्र महोदय को पुष्प गुच्छ से स्वागत करें तथा स्मृति चिन्ह के रूप में उन्हें बुद्धा हेट प्रदान करें। मिश्र साहब कृपया मंच पर आएं। अब मैं आज के मुख्य वक्ता से अनुरोध करता हूं सर कि वे आज के व्याख्यान के विषय पर प्रकाश डालें।
Respected Dr. Mani Saab, the Director General of this institution, the National Museum, which is not known only in India, but is a brand all over the world. If you introduce yourself that you have seen National Museum India, the people of other countries would recognize you that you have seen that museum, which is one of the outstanding museums of the world. So, Dr. Mani and his all colleagues, his all officials of National Museum, and the esteemed guests who have come here to listen this lecture. I take this opportunity this stage, this mic, to just give you a very brief and very light. I don't want to go in a very technical details about this archaeology because just sitting in Mani Saab's room, I was telling him that we should not go in that technical terms so that the tourists who have come to see this museum and who is attending this lecture should start yawning. If you start yawning, then I'll feel I'm not successful in telling my things. So, first of all, I thank Mr. Rajesh ji and Dr. Mani sir, who is not like my elder brother, but he is my brother. I just say that. We have a very long association. His father and my father were friends. His grandfather and my grandfather were friends. And at any time of good news and any time of bad news, we just come very close to each other. So this is our credential for that. And he has given me this special stage to speak about my discoveries. He has just explained about my works. I am grateful to him that we have discussed on those topics, on those subjects where we have worked. He was our Additional Director General here in Archaeological Survey of India. I was Superintending Archaeologist. So we never felt that we are working with Additional Director General. And we had such an access, such a close proximity with each other, that many things we used to feel that he is sitting there, so we need not have to worry. I think same thing you National Museums officers who are here, you must be also experiencing with him. He is not that officer who is inaccessible or who has got some different kind of attitude that I am sitting in such a chair. I should not be very easily accessible to anyone. He is ready to meet anyone. He is ready to help anyone. So you all are very lucky to have an officer over here like Dr. Mani. So I thank him again and again. I thank him for all this honor and all this place which he has given to me to speak before you. So now let us come to my topic. You know, we are archaeologists. So I will be dividing this lecture in 3 parts. First part I will tell you, especially to those who have come here to listen the lecture, who are outsiders. Perhaps they don't know very well that what is the role of an archaeologist. It must be very exciting and it must be very boring to them also. You must be feeling, what is this archaeologist, what they do, what kind of work they are doing, how they are branded as an archaeologist. So I'll be speaking a brief about that. Then I'll tell you that how I discovered this site in 1982. That time I was just 26 years old. Today I am 68 years old. So you can imagine this site was discovered, how we discovered it, that story I will tell you. And in my third part, I would explain you what are the major characteristics of this important site, not only in this country, but all over the world. So I start, my father was also an archaeologist, so I knew archaeology, but I don't feel shy in telling before you all that my going to archaeology was an accident. I don't feel shy in telling this. In my young age, I was a very naughty student. My one brother was a neurosurgeon. He was an excellent, intelligent man, and both of us were studying in Baroda Central School. You remember that time, if you all are of that age, you would remember that everybody was insisting to go for science subject. They had liking for the science subject, and people never wanted to take art subject. Art subject, one used to feel that, if he works for art, he will do nothing in his life. So like others, I also joined the science subject. It was in 7th standard. That I am talking somewhere in 1968. In 7th standard, when I was doing a sort of practical work in my chemical laboratory, so by mistake, one of the beaker had fallen down. I'm telling you a very secret of my life. One of the beaker had fallen down. So we had one vice principal, Mr. Patel. He came and he said, how did you do like this? I said, sir, it has slipped from my hand and it has fallen. So he caught my ears, He pressed my ears and he started screwing my ears. So I became very offended. And then in my anger mood, I had broken more than 100 beakers of that school. So there was a big noise. And my elder brother was the head prefect of the school. My father was the guardian parent of that school. So next day in assembly, I was called. And then they said, this boy has done this mistake. Then my father also scolded me very badly. And we turned to arts section. And I started studying history, economics, and other subjects. Likewise, my change to this destiny of archaeology had come. I did my first year BA from MS University, Baroda, and then I came to Patna College, where I obtained first class degree did my BA honors, and then I did my post-graduation from Patna College, Patna University. I did my PhD under Professor Lalanji Gopal, who was a well-known figure from BHU. And my topic was, of course, not from this area, but it was from the southern India. So I finished my PhD. And then in 1981, I joined a school of archaeology and I did my diploma in the School of Archaeology. And in 81, I joined Archaeological Survey of India as an assistant archaeologist, selected from Staff Selection Board South. 81 November, I was appointed with this government of India, and then I joined Bhopal Circle. So I just gave you my brief about my naughty actions. But now, when I joined Archaeological Survey of India, where my father had worked for very long, so I thought I should be devoted to my subject and I should do something. So I was granted Rewa region of Madhya Pradesh. And Rewa region, I hailed from Allahabad side. So from Allahabad, Rewa was very near. And my father has passed away, so we had one ambassador car of my father, which I was traveling from Allahabad to Rewa, and I was moving around in every villages badly, and like every day I wanted that one site should come in my credit. So this was 82 August. 3rd August, I came to Rewa. 3rd August, I could not get any site. 4th August, I could not get any site. 6th August also, I could not get any site. 7th August, I was staying in a Tyothar, is a small town in Rewa district, in the guest house. I was asking DFO, I was asking district magistrate, I was asking the conservator of that area, forest area, and we were just going with village to village survey scheme. That what I want to just tell you that how we start our work. Sorry. So we had that village to village survey work. So suddenly one old gentleman came to me. I told him, today I will not take my dinner. I am very sad. And it was about 6:30, 7 o'clock of the evening. I said, for the last 4 days, I'm not able to get any site. I'm hunting for the site, archaeological site, but I'm not getting it. Then he was sarpanch of some of the place. He told me कि डॉक्टर साहब भरोसा रखिए कुछ ना कुछ मिली आपके काहे चिंता कर रहे हैं. I remember his word. Then I said कुछ ना मिल रहा है भाई हम बहुत परेशान हैं. तो नहीं मिली. फिर after 10 minutes he is coming to me and he is telling me कि are you tired? I said no, I'm not tired. I was just a young boy of 26 years old. तो आप चलब हमारा साथे ट्रैक्टर पर बैठ के एक जंगल में ले चलत हैं. हमके जंगल में कितना देर में यहाँ लागी जाए में. He said about 2 hours. So हम कहे I asked him what you are going to show me there. He said एक भट्ठा हो ईंटा के भट्ठा हो जहां से लाखों के लाख ईंटा लोग उठाए के ले गए. वो हमका बुझाई था कि कोई पुरान जगह है. I was very much interested to know about it. ईटा का भट्टा. And he told me that ईटा का भट्टा is not a normal brick, but it is unusual brick. And I was excited. I said, Chala. His name was Ajit Singh. He is no more. He left there last year. So he and I had one Muslim peon. He was a very fanatic Muslim. He used to do nawaz for 4 times. I was a very fanatic Brahmin. But when we used to pray, when he used to pray, he would say that, oh, साहब को कुछ ना कोई साइट मिल जाए आज के दिन. So both of us had that parameter with each other. So I asked him, कि Muhammad Salim, would you join me for this exploration? He said, अरे बिल्कुल सर चलेंगे. So हम लोग we started traveling. We went in a very dense forest. And when we reached half of the way, our tractor's light had some problems and there was no light in the tractor. So we were moving sometime right, sometime left, sometime straight. 9:30 in the night, I reached that place, this place. I thought, how would I climb this? How could you, immediately when getting down, I can know that this is an ancient place. But it was thickly vegetated. It was very difficult to move inside that vegetation and climb this stupa. But we were excited. It was 9:30. Sometimes he was telling me, sir, be careful, panthers come here. I said, oh, no, nothing will come. Some people were telling me, be careful. Some dacoits and other peoples are also living here nearby. I said, no. Then about 1 hour's survey of that area, I climbed this place. And on the top only, on that night only, I got 3 shirts of NBP. Small shirts. I was really thrilled and excited. I said, Ajit Singh, this is a Mauryan site. This is a very important site where we have reached. Now, from the top, I saw the layout of the whole area. It was all foresty area, all lands, upheaval. They were up and down everywhere. So I said, no, there are a lot of clues here because I could see some rock shelters. I could see some monasteries type of things. So likewise, I had a general assessment with torch and lights, but we returned. Then he said, sir, we will come in the morning. So we returned back about 2:30, 3 o'clock to our guest house, but we could not get sleep and we were waiting for the morning to go. Next day morning, about 8 o'clock, again we reached to this place. And in the daytime, when we reached to this place, we found that it was a big treasure for an archaeologist. It was a very interesting thing which any archaeologist in the world would get. And this was the Mauryan site. It has monasteries. It has so many Brahmi inscriptions. It has so many rock shelters. In rock shelters there were paintings and many more things. We explored in the 3-kilometer area. And every area, they had a very good water channel system. All was of the late Mauryan, early Mauryan periods, developments. So likewise we reached this site. It was 82 August. I came out. Next day I was searching the libraries. I was thinking why this site is not reported so far. How people have missed this site. Such an important site. I was thinking Lord Cunningham must have definitely come to this site because he had come very close to this site. Gurgi is hardly 30 kilometers from there. Bharut also, Cunningham has gone, which is hardly 30 kilometers from this site. So I was very upset, but we were moving with the books, we were moving with the Indian Archaeological Review. I was calling to all of my friends कि यार देखो ये कहीं reported है कि नहीं reported है. Newspapers covered a very good news. I had still those cuttings. I wanted to put, but I could not put here. So All India Radio gave a news that one young archaeologist has discovered one Mauryan stupa in the dense forest of Tiothar. There was a spark in Archaeological Survey of India. We archaeologists are very jealous of each other. Very few archaeologists you will find that will be very happy with the new discoveries. So they said, no, it is the discovered site. It is definitely already reported. I remember Mr. J.P. Joshi, he rang me and he asked my essay. I want to speak to that boy. He told me, कि देखो फणिकांत जी, ये site reported है, I know that. ये होगा reported. I said, really? Can you give me the evidence whether it is reported or not? He could not answer me. Then ASI appointed one team, committee headed by Dr. K.V. Saundarajan. I think all of you know him. He was the Additional Director General that time. So he came to Bhopal and he told me, no, I will not take you. And I had my Deputy Superintending Archaeologist that time, Lalchand Singh. I think you all who are with the National Museum must be knowing him also. Lalchand Singh, and I had one colleague was Mr. Gupta. One of his hands were broken. So all three went to Rewa area. Rewa area, in any of the houses, any of the villages, when they were going, they were telling, oh, Mishra ji to aaye the yahan. वो खोज रहे थे पुरानी साइट, यहाँ खोज रहे थे. So K.V. Saundarajan then rang to my essay, Superintending Archaeology in himself, you send Dr. Mishra also to this place. We want to take him also because everybody is remembering him as he has combed this area completely. Meanwhile, Lalchand Singh told him, you don't see Dr. Phanikanta Mishra as the previous Phanikanta Mishra. I know he has worked very hard in this area and nobody else has discovered this site. It was his site. He is the first man to discover it. And then Dr. Saundarajan took me to the site. Sorry, I'm remembering my old days. And he appreciated very badly, very happily. He told me, I know your father, I know your family. This is a very big discovery and I'm going to give a very strong report to the ASI. And All India Radio has announced this on your name, so it is your discovery and it will stand as your discovery. Then we came back to Bhopal and he left. Later on, I was trying through my superintending archaeologist that we should see something because there was no road there, there was no layout there was nothing which we can say ki anything could have been done to that site in past 100, 200 years. It was abandoned. Only thing which I can see that there was a big damage to the stupa. Many of the bricks were taken away from there. So I was very much deep inside with my circle peoples, and we started working on that. Later on, with God's grace, I became the superintending archaeologist of Bhopal Circle in 1998, 99. Then Government of India, ASI Delhi was very kind to permit me. But meanwhile, in 1987, when we prepared the report of this site, so Archaeological Survey of India was very happy to declare this site as the site of national importance, and that became a central protected site. So that was another very important thing to get notified about its protection was also not that easy in those days. It was a very tough job because very few sites were there, and in that few sites this site was considered and it became our nationally protected site. Then in 1999, 2000, 2001, I started the excavation work with my team. I had a very good team of Bhopal Circle. I had very good archaeologists with me. I had very good draftsmen, surveyors. Only thing they were telling me कि साहब भोपाल से वहाँ जाने में 16 घंटा लग जाता है to this site because it was very far from Bhopal. I used to tell them कि यार चलो चलो चलो. I used to take them. One of my very good colleague, I want to name him, was Manuel Joseph, who was with me. And he was excited to see that site. He said, sir, you are very lucky that you can get this site and we will do our excavation very nicely. So here we landed and we started the excavation in 99, 2000. Till then, we had no this pillar. We had not discovered the pillar. We had nothing more in our knowledge about the period, only this much. Till then, we were knowing that it is a Mauryan site. That was there. But I was working with my studies. I was searching that whether with this site, anywhere in the country, we have, like this site, we have any other brick stupas also, because at most of the places, there is only one brick stupa. So here at Deokothar, I had 4 brick stupas. Of course, this main stupa was 9 meter, but other stupas were 6 meter, 7 meters, but there were 3 brick stupas. So I could find out that nowhere we could get this chunk of 5 stupas. So I was thinking this must be a very important ground. I have studied by that time that this was a nuclear zone. It was a triangle. It was a triangle from Sarnath, Kaushambi, then this Deokothar, Bharut, and Sanchi. So likewise, this must be a very rich place where Buddhist activities was done not for a 1 year, 2 year, but for several years. Because the monasteries was very matured, stupa was very well seen, the largest stupa, first stupa number 1, stupa number 2, stupa number 3, and then we had 32 stone stupas. They were also inside the trees. So we used to cut it, we used to go to the site, we used to stay there, we used to clean all those sites. Likewise, we counted 32 stone stupas at this place. I don't know why it has not come in knowledge of anyone till then. Then we went to the rock shelters. We could find 63 rock shelters. there were 7 rock shelters where some paintings were also done. So we started correlating each other. We were working. My article had come in many of the journals by that time, and we had done the preliminary work which any archaeologist would have done. I'm sure the visitors, the tourists, you are not getting bored with the lecture. If you are getting bored, please tell me. I will take you back to some other knowledge also. So let us come to this place now, that now in the excavation approval had come and we are reaching this place for excavation. So I would just give you some very non-technical report about an excavation, that what we started. What was our mind? What was our idea behind this excavation? Why we wanted to do excavation of this place? So this was in our mind, that what should we do first? So we wanted that we should know the history of this place. What is its antiquity of this place? What was the way, whether it was on the trade route of Gangetic Basin? Tamas River, which is very close to this site, is the tributary of Ganges. So this was one of the trade route which, as I told you, was connecting Patliputra, Sarnath, Kaushambi, Deokotar, Bharut. This was a network for the traders, or the Buddhist civilization was prospering at that site. So this was one of the things which was in our mind. So I think it was 27th October when we just started the excavation work in 99, and we took the excavation of the first stupa number 1. So I would come to the slides. I think Rajeshji, can you help me here? Yes. No, it's okay. So this what you are seeing in the slide. I'm sorry to say that this photograph was taken in 2014, and you can see the cows on the top of the stupa number 1. So the maintenance was not very good. People thought कि Mishra ji ka site hai, wahi usko संभालेंगे, he will preserve it. So it was left abandoned. So, but when I reached, stupa was never seen in 1982. Only vegetations were seen on this stupa, and I climbed on the top of it where I could get NBP pottery, as I told you, and in the plinth also I could get not much, but by that time we got 12 pieces of NBP. So we start the excavation here. It was the southern side which we took, that we will excavate. So I am giving you another picture, which is the aerial view of, by Google, we have brought it, of the site. This is the notification by Government of India, who had protected this site now as a national protected site. We have fixed the cultural text there, and in that cultural text, what I told you, very brief history also, we have put in another board. And I never felt shy in putting on record that this site was discovered by Dr. Phanikanta Mishra, and still it is existing there. So I put it on my board. So now we are seeing the trench. Excavations 1999, 2000, 2001. So total 30 quadrants were taken of 4x4, and this site has not paid any attention in the reports of the colonial Indologists, that, as I told you, and British administrators, including Alexander Cunningham, and in 1982 we discovered, it is in that slide, you can read it, and now this site is maintained by Jabalpur Circle of Archaeological Survey of India. As I told you about the excavation, so I told you what was my objective about the excavation. It was to ascertain the antiquity of the site and to understand the exact nature of Buddhist monuments of the site. So we start, and the findings at glance, other archaeological remains reported from here include, as I told you, 63 rock shelters, many with prehistoric paintings in various sheds in red color. And during excavation, the very important thing which I could find was a 6-line pillared inscription. So that was a very exciting find for us, and we were very happy to get this discovery. And in our 30 trenches, we could find 20 pieces of this inscribed, which you are seeing, this one. You can see other archaeological remains. There is a rock shelter that side. This side is the drawing design, and this is the piece of this pillar. Dear friends who are archaeologists, even non-archaeologists, I want to tell you one thing here about this pillar. That pillar stone is very different. It's a quartzite stone. And it is not that Chunar sandstone, which usually we have found in most of the Buddhist Mauryan pillars. This is a different kind of stone, and for me it was very difficult to work on it. And the material of pillar, the petrologically is different from other pillars. This was our study during excavations, and as I told you, it is not of Chunar sandstone. The Gith, I think you know Gith. But Gith is that mystery which is not known to us about it, but was similar with presence of Mauryan polish and Ashokan inscription being found and on a quartzite pillar. The same thing we got it only in India was in Amravati Fort. I hope you understand what I mean to say. Again hints us, this Amravati Fort, again hints us that about its proximity with Ashokan times. That is the most interesting characteristics of this. So let us go beyond this now. This archaeological excavations at Stupa, as I told you, Stupa number 1, a few highlights of that excavation. Southern and west part of the Stupa was excavated. Its height is more than 9 meters. Fine quality of NBP. I will show you the NBP pottery also. It is a very fine quality of NBP. Was found. Part of the facade we exposed it. Concentric ring at the level of Mehdi was exposed during that excavation. Maximum brick course was 11, which we have found during our excavation. The interspace, almost in the form of deep grove between the stupa and the inner wall of the ring wall, ranges in the width of 10 to 18 centimeters and was filled with very compact clay and with mortar at places. So we are coming on the other stupa. This is the stupa number 1, which you are seeing the left side. It was before excavation, and right side you are seeing the after excavation. what I told you, the burnt bricks used in the making of these stupas are typically of the Mauryan period. That we studied, we discussed at the site, and we could find there was no changes in the brick sizes and others. It was all purely with naked eye, anybody could say it was of the Mauryan period. It confirmed the sizes commonly available in this period. The brick evidences at Deur Kothari is also another point to be discussed, is noteworthy. Stupa number 1 is composed of 3 types of bricks. It is not one type of brick only which was used. Here, 3 types of brick. It has also been noticed that the bricks with specific dimensions were used in specific places as well. Means you can understand where there was a gap, or where at this place they have used a different kind of brick. The sizes was little adjusted, not exactly of that size. And then at third place also they have fixed different kind of brick. Here I say this workmanship must have been not of the one period. Maybe after some gaps they have used this kind of brick, because some of the bricks we found were very well navigated. It seemed as if it is very nicely built. The earlier bricks which we found, I can't say at the moment that it was a pre-Mauryan or what, but they were half-baked. I will show you the finger prints also we got in that. So that was half-baked. So how we were discussing that how during Mauryan period are we getting this kind of evidences in any other stupas of the country where we are getting these 3 type of bricks. But I tell you, sometimes some of the scholars with whom I was discussing, they told me that activity might have been done during Shunga period, but I don't agree with that, because we did not get a single pottery of the Shunga period here. And my contention is that Pukhyamitra Shunga did not stay here, did not pass his time over here, but he, in 149 BC or there, who was the founder of the first ruler of the Shunga Empire. He was a Brahmin, as you know, and he was the army chief of Brihadrath, the last Mauryan king. But during military parade, he killed Brihadrath and established himself on the throne in 185 BC. He was against Buddhism, and he destroyed many of the stupas of the country, and many Buddhist monasteries and wantonly slaughtered Buddhist sites. So when we got 20 pieces of our pillar portion, I could make out that definitely when you are in very angry mood or you are in a destroying mood, you have charged, but we were lucky that the inscription which I showed you earlier, that 5-line inscription was saved. So here we go again. I told you about the bricks. This is the earliest bricks which we could find. The bricks used in the making of Harmika, Pradakshinapat and circular walls of the stupa number 1, and it measures 49, 29 and 7 centimeters. 48, 28 and 7 centimeters. 28 and 29, I don't think there is a very big difference. Some is 46, 25 and 7 centimeters. Bricks of the Mauryan period have been encountered from the upper part of the stupa number 1. Few bricks also bear fingerprints impression. I think you can see, is it visible? That fingerprints is seen in those bricks. So what was the cause of it? I was not able to make out. Likewise in stupa number 2, 4 types of bricks were seen. One kind was 30 into 30 and 7 centimeters. The breadth was 7 centimeters. 36, 27 and 7.5 centimeters. 48, 46 and 42 and 8 centimeters. Likewise, some very minor differences were there. He was making the core of the anda. On the core of the anda, we got this kind of findings. So I hope all of you are able to understand that circular ring, Pradakshina and lower Pradakshina respectively, this kind of difference, mild differences of the brick structures were noticed. Now, as I told you, we have this kind of stone stupas. So, as all of you know very well, I need not have to repeat, but just I tell you, during this Mauryan time or even later when Buddhist stupas were built, it had 4 types, So what were those 4 types? One was remains of the Buddha and his disciples, which was put in that stupa. Second was the object stupa containing objects that belong to the Buddha or his disciple. And third was the commemorative stupa, marking an event in Buddha's life. That was the third one. And the fourth one was the symbolic stupa, which represents aspects of Buddhist teachings. But friends, I am not able to come to any conclusion till now because this very small excavation of this site has been done. I was waiting for Dr. Mani to come over there as a Director General, who would have understood my difficulty, my heart, and he would have gladly agreed to give me the permission for for doing the excavation of this site. It's a very rich site, very sad that from 1999 to 2000, so far, I have been asking the Archaeological Survey of India to allow me for excavation report, but till now we have not received any paper from them. Even after my superannuation also, I could not get any reply that you can go with the excavation report. Then we come to the findings, another which is very important here, the railing surrounding and surmounting stupa number 1. So it is now with these findings, it was sure that like in Sanchi and other stupas, here also there was a railing. But that railing portions which we got in situ was like if anybody was under angerness and they have just thrown it down. It was demolished. They wanted to finish this. Here I say it was all done by the Pukhyamitra Shunga's time, who never wanted that any Buddhist antiquity should remain. So we are seeing here most of the ground level railings were found broken in several pieces on the stone flooring, while some pillars fell and blocked. Others remained in the ground as partly pulled out broken stumps. These pieces were covered by a brick bat layer. They were covered because we saw the floor. Some activities on the floor was done. Of course, who has demolished that thing, they have not touched the floor, so we can get in situ details of floor. The pieces were covered by brick bat layer as a result of what appears to be deliberate damage to the stupa body. The andas of stupa number 1 and 2 were marked by a concentric ring of single brick, separated by 20 centimeter and 11 centimeter width of mud mortar. That also we could find in 2 stupas respectively. This is a unique feature hitherto unknown in central India. Neither in Sanchi, nor in Bharuch and any other Buddhist site we could get this characteristic. So this is a different feature which we got it here. Amidst the debris, several distinct architectural members were also found, some antiquities. So now we come to the antiquity part, the very important antiquity, and which I want that all of you should know about this Deor Kothar. I don't know, ever in IAS, this year's UPSC exam, there was one question on Deor Kothar that I want to tell you. That in that they have mentioned where is Deor Kothar and who discovered this site. So when the student this year the result has come, they said that this Deor Kothar site has come on that. So here what I want to discuss with you here, Dr. Mani sir is here, he is a very great scholar. I will discuss with him after this lecture what is his intention. Along with other architectural fragments, a stone fragment of pillar was found in the vicinity of the stupa number 1. The discovery of fragmentary stone pillar suggests it to be the reminiscent of pillar found at Sanchi and Sarnath. Keep it in mind, it is like Sanchi and Sarnath, but the characteristic of this is little different, which I will discuss with you now. The important motifs found engraved on the railing pillars and crossbars include lotus in round, twirling lotus, mudava lotus, dropping lotus with conical bud and petals, a simple flower pot on 3-tiered pedestal, Purna Kumbha, with creepers, etc. So what we discussed after we found this, it gives the impression that the art was the beginning, because in Sanchi we are getting very mature type of lotus. Sarnath we are getting very mature type of lotus. The twirling here is very small. It is not that very well proportionate. It is the beginning of the things. So this we have to discuss whether it is in Mauryan, where we will keep it. Dr. D.K. Chakravarti was telling me that Dr. Mishra, you can say it, the early Mauryan. So I was that time not very much even convinced, because archaeology you cannot concoct anything. You have to say 2 + 2 4. So I have not come out with the full evidence where we can say that it was the early Mauryan. I talked to you about the NBP pottery. You can see what a matured pottery we are getting. What a nice NBP we are getting. In association with stupas, does indicate that stupa was certainly built sometime in 3rd century BC. For that there is no controversy. As an archaeologist I can say, it was built in the 3rd century BC. The shapes found in NBPW were balls with straight convex tapering and corrugated sides, dishes with straight sides, knobbed lids, carinated handies, and miniature vases. Apart from black, it was also found other shades and colors. Not only black, but we had even pink, we have some brown also. So they were also found during excavation. Now you see, this is the broken part of abacus. Here also we have to keep in mind, I think Dr. Mani Sahab will be the right person to guide us. He has seen Sarnath, he has seen Sanchi very well. So when we see this broken part of abacus showing wheel and figure of an animal, possibly bull, is also met with. The typical Mauryan polish on this is suggestive of the fact that it was possibly a part of Mauryan pillar. There is no doubt in it. It was the part of the Mauryan pillar which I showed you earlier, for which there was 20 pieces. But here when I was comparing it with the Sarnath wheel animal and Sanchi animal, I could find that Sanchi animal and Sarnath animal is more proportionate. It shows that now the artist, the art, wants to give a very right impression about the animal and the wheel of an abacus. So that we are working, we cannot conclude at the moment on that. So among the other antiquities recovered during excavation include copper coins also we got it, iron arrowheads also we got it, iron nails also we got it, iron slags, terracotta animal figurines, and a number of pieces of chhatras with Mauryan polish. The chhatras had a Mauryan polish. In all probability, the rock shelters scattered here and there at the site may have been used by the Buddhist monks. It's such a nice place. I will request all of you, you must go there. When you go there, for hours you will feel that you should not come out of that site. Definitely I feel some religious or supernatural activities have been done. There are 63 rock shelters. Definitely the monks must have used these rock shelters. Many of the rock shelters have connection with the monasteries. Monastery is also very massive monastery. It's not a small one. So definitely Buddhist monks must have used these rock shelters, and during that time only they have made these designs and paintings. I was telling you that there is a pathway from monastery to the rock shelters. This is one of the photographs which I am showing you here, is that pathway for the monks to go to the rock shelters. We got 2 inscriptions engraved on pillars have been discovered from the site. According to Richard Solomon and Joseph Moreno, they came there and they worked on it. They have published their view. They were the initial, they in 2001, 2002. Moreno and Solomon both came from UK and they worked. I was also with them. These inscriptions were dated around, they say, is of 2nd century BC. Later, many archaeologists and numismatics, including Julia, I think you all know Julia, is from the London School of Archaeology, where I have delivered my lecture on this topic. She had also written a 150 pages book on the inscriptions which we found at this place. So she also writes about 2nd century BC. But I had a long talk with Dr. Dilip Kumar Chakravarti. He went to my site. He was about to come back that day, but he said, I stayed there. I again traveled to that site. Many places I saw your pillars. There is some fire activity. I had not seen, but he only told me there is some fire activity on the pillars. Maybe they might have burned something. There must be some wooden part which was existing there that was burned. So he tells me, you should not feel any way weak by telling this, that it is of the 3rd century BC. So we may postulate that these pillar inscriptions could be ascribable to circa 2nd, 3rd century BC. Besides, several rock shelters with inscriptions and 5 fragmentary donative inscriptions on stone were also found. Both pillar inscriptions record the erection of pillars, apparently by members of the local Buddhist community. This picture you had seen, this is one of the very, very important find of that place. It is 6-line Brahmi inscription of the Ashokan period. It has 20 pieces and broken later on. The quartzite made pillar with Ashokan inscription, as found in Amravati, I just told you, again hints its close proximity to the Ashokan period and its connection with the Buddhist establishment of Amravati. This is a $1,000 question which anytime, anyways, we archaeologists would like to work on it and fix the authenticity, because we have some evidences and these evidences are very important. On that basis, we can correlate this site with Amravati. So summing up the whole thing, I don't want to take you very long, because those who have much interest in Buddhist would definitely enjoy this lecture, but some people must have thought where we are sitting here, some tourists, they should come forward. So we will sum up here. The discovery and excavation of their Kothar has opened a new horizon on the history of Buddhism in India. This is my conclusion. Beside the colossal Mauryan pillar, the earliest art on the balustrade and the donative inscription therein are symbolic of changing times, when the participation of laity was steadily replaced the state patronage. Deor Kothar stands for its crude and careless artistic. I was just comparing Sarnath and Sanchi. So I feel it stands for its crude and careless artistic initiatives as evident from the low relief, stencil effects on friezes, simple ornamentation. There is not much decoration. The maturity is not seen in that decoration. Paucity of human animal figures. All this shows that it goes back to little early. According to me, the architectural remains of Deor Kothar seems to predate the late Mauryan Shunga period, 4th to 1st centuries BC, and definitely throw light on the genesis of the spread of Buddhism in central India. Deor Kothar stands as a singular site with art on stone balustrades that was carved well within the Mauryan period, and it makes the transition period when balustrades were being built more commonly on stone rather than wood. I hope you understand. Some of the motifs encountered here have also found at other famous Buddhist sites like Khandagiri, Amravati, Sarnath, Bharut and Mathura. Lotus buds with conical apex from here are more often cut out with individual petals, like a line drawing, flat, without any shading, whereas those from Mathura, Bharut, Satara, Sanchi and Sarnath are elaborately carved. I just told you before that. With shading effect conspicuous due to the rounded nature of the buds. So they seem to be little of the matured period. Here we are getting the early feeling. The material of pillars from Deor Kothar, which I told you just now, are not from Chunar stone, petrologically differ from the other pillars of the Mauryan times. How is it? We have pillars at many places. How could we say that it is earlier? I had discussed with so many geologists. I have discussed about this with so many other experts, and they say, no, it is a different type of stone. It is not made of Chunar stone, but have Mauryan polish on them. How a good Mauryan polish is also seen in this pillar is very interesting. The quartzite made pillar with Ashokan inscription as found in Amravati again hints its close proximity to the Ashokan period and its connection with the Buddhist establishment of Amravati. This we need to establish forcefully. We have to still do some good research on it. Remains of colloidal pillar blistering with the characteristic Mauryan polish is undoubtedly most important. It was found in 20 pieces, was spread in 8 quadrants. The southern part quadrants which you have seen, in that it was all scattered, as if it was there and somebody has demolished it with angerness. If compared with the other stupas of the Mauryan period like Sanchi, Sadhara, the stupas of Deor Kothar fall in the same category in respect of shape and artistic patterns. What distinguishes Deor Kothar? That is very important to note from other contemporary Buddhist sites is the fact that this place is credited with 4 stupas, brick stupas. I have already discussed with you about it, of the Mauryan period. In all those stupas also we got the Mauryan pottery also, and no other pottery of the Shunga or other period. So that must be definitely of the contemporary period. Other sites including great Buddhist establishment of Sanchi does not have this peculiarity. Kindly note it. The tired pedestal motifs observed at Deor Kothar is simple and lack of depth is seen there. The same motifs in later times become more ornate, like in other places, Sarnath, Sanchi and other, as noticed in Sarnath and Amravati. If we go into the dynamics of the site in relation to the socio-religious activities during the heydays of Ashoka the Great, it would appear that this site got direct impulses from the migratory Buddhist monks. This is one of the theory which we want to say. And people traversing on the Dakshina Path. It is on the Dakshina Path with intentions to propagate Buddhism and administer the large empire from Patliputra to Pratishthan, Maharashtra, through Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, Mathura, Deor Kothar, Vidisha, Ujjain, etc. Deor Kothar is situated between the triangle, I told you, marked by the famous Buddhist sites of Sarnath, Kaushambi and Bharut. During ancient times, Bharut was connected with Kaushambi and Sarnath, forming part of a large network of trade routes. The river Tamas, tributary of Ganga, was flowing near Bharut and drains into the Ganges. It possibly provides access to Buddhist sites of Bharut and even Deor Kothar. It may be postulated that modern stupas of Deor Kothar must have been built sometime in the later of 3rd century BC. This is one more, I am giving one more too likewise. So sometimes we feel must be of the later half of the 3rd century BC. The absence of any pottery ascribable to Shunga period also hints that no contractional activities took place during this period. If we would have got some Shunga pottery, then we would have said that Shungas had also been here and some activity of that rule was there, but it was not seen, not a single pottery. The exposed remains at the site bear evidence of deliberate destruction. We have big evidence about this deliberate destruction in the period datable to first quarter of the 2nd century BC. I think I should not go in detail. I have many more things. I have come with a big theory, but now it is time 5:30. I don't want to bore you more, but I am sure this deliberation must have been very fruitful. So I just again pay my acknowledgement to Dr. B.R. Mani, Director General, the National Museum. I am indebted to him that he has invited me to delivering this lecture. I just want to convey my thanks to Dr. Kumkum Bandyopadhyay, who is with me there at Macau, where I am the director of the Heritage Cell. She was very much kind to prepare my PPT, so I thought I should acknowledge. I should acknowledge all your National Museum experts and who were with me, especially Rigli Siba. She was an excellent officer. I can tell to your Director General, she has been coordinating with me every now and then, and she was just a bridge between me and the Director General. She was telling me this, that, everything she was preparing. And then Mr. Rajesh, who has been kind enough to conduct this, and I thank to all of you who have come here, who have listened this lecture so patiently. When I came here, I found some of the chairs were vacant, but now I'm seeing some were filled. So all of you deserve thanks from me. Thank you very much.
बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय। आपके इस सारगर्भित व्याख्यान से यहाँ दर्शक दीर्घा में सभी लोग लाभान्वित हुए होंगे, ऐसा मैं पूर्ण विश्वास के साथ कह सकता हूँ। आप में से कोई कुछ प्रश्न पूछना चाहता है तो जरूर पूछें, मिश्रा साहब इसका जवाब देंगे। सुधीर जी, उनको माइक दीजिए।
Hello, sir. I had two questions actually. One was with regard to D.K. Chakravarti's observations with regard to your site. I just want to ask you that he observed that there was some fire activity on the pillars, which causes him to assert that it somehow, the site should be dated back to 3rd century. Obviously, he also gives other artistic reasons for like the lotus motifs for that. So, why does D.K. Chakravarti believe on the basis of the fire activity on the pillars that it can be dated back to 3rd century BC? And my second question is regard to your first part of the speech with regard to archaeology. Like not all archaeologists are lucky enough to be able to discover a site. So do you think that creates a unique frustration, and how do they come to terms with that?
Very nicely you have said. You have asked a very good question. Even this question I asked with Dr. Chakravarti also. But I find Dr. Chakravarti as a senior, very senior to me, and he was in Cambridge, and he was writing his book, and he wanted to incorporate my site in his book. He told me, Dr. Mishra, the dating of this site, I'll put 3rd century BC. So I asked him, give me what makes you to take, because I as an excavator or I as a discoverer, I can't say that I'm the master of it. I may be lacking somewhere. So I became a small scholar before him. What he said, there was some fire impressions, what he saw in that pillar. And he says that at Amravati also, the fire impression is seen in the pillar. So he says there was some wood activity, and those wood activity, according to him, we have to finalize, we have to take the samples of that soil. And with that soil, if we get some evidences about wood, then there will be no controversy about its dating. And even for the inscriptions also, he says, these inscriptions are definitely of the 3rd century BC. And this later on, the foreigners who had come, they have also revised it. They also discussed with me. And your second question, what do you want to ask, Selvi?
I just wanted to know that not all archaeologists are lucky enough to discover a site by themselves, right? So that, I mean, must create a frustration in them. So how do they come to terms with that? I mean,
I don't say this. You are lucky. God is great to you that He has given you this site. And so many archaeologists who are working in India, not from now, even during the British period also archaeologists working. Was it waiting for me to come there? So I pray to God that whether I am here or I am not there, for thousands and thousands of years people will say this site. Today I think Shiva has gone. I had sent her one video that how much development government has done there. Beautiful roads have come. A guest house has come. A hotel has come. Signages you can see after every 8 kilometers. Of course, I was following with the state government. I was following with the people over there. So it is developing day by day. And I'm sure one day this site will go as a World Heritage Site. Not today, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. So there is nothing. All archaeologists, when they will see the site, they will definitely say that God was great with Dr. Mishra. So he is prized with this site. Anything else? Tell me.
Sir, thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. And this is a very fruitful lecture, as you say. It's really a very fruitful lecture, and we come to know many things which we are not aware about or we don't know actually it exists. So, sir, my question is that is there any possibility that it is a pre-Ashokan site, or it is created by the predecessors of Ashoka? Because if it is accordingly the pictures you shown in the PPT, according to the pictures, even in my mind it comes that it's not the Ashokan site, because wherever we see the Ashokan sites, and even the information we get that the Ashoka made 84,000 stupas destroying some big stupas and take the bricks from there and makes more stupas. So, is there any possibility that before Ashoka also the patronage of Buddhism, the kings or predecessors of Ashoka, patronage Buddhism by building stupas and giving shelter to the Buddhist monks and theorists?
It's a very relevant question. Any, as if I would have been a non-archaeologist, I would have also thought about it. What is your good name?
My name is Dev Mishra.
Acha. You are from the National Museum?
No, actually, I am a professor in history and teaches in history.
Wonderful.
And my research topic is Buddhism.
Oh,
It's not completed yet, but yes, my research topic is
good. So what I want to tell you here, very importantly, what you should know. Actually, we have just finished 0.10% excavation of this site. We have not gone in the central chamber of the main stupa or the four stupas which we have. We have not excavated the monasteries. We have not excavated the rock shelters. So it needs a big excavation. I think that will answer your questions. And if your question is answered, what I feel, if it goes back to pre-Mauryan, very big discovery, very new thing. So you pray to God that somebody should come and make full excavation of the area. I would request the ASI to send students full 1 month, 2 months what they go for excavation and let them dig the site. Many things it will reveal. I am very sure it has got, it is very rich, so many things which are hidden about Buddhism can be brought out from here. And I will pray that it should come pre-Ashoka. Definitely Buddha was there. So Buddha, some monks have been there. They must be going for prayers. They must be living somewhere. So this monasteries was built, rock shelters. We are not getting 63 rock shelters in any of the site. You tell me. Such a huge collection of rock shelters. They have got such a good water channels. They have got such a good channels facing the rock shelters from monasteries. So that way it is very rich. Let us wait for the result.
because it is only possible when a king is giving their patronage.
Patronage to the Buddha. Yes.
Otherwise,
Otherwise it's not possible. You are right. You are right. Thank you.
One more question. Maybe it's a very small thing.
The inscription we see here. So, what kind of inscription? It is, I think it's in Brahmi Lipi. The Lipi is Brahmi and the language should be Pali or Prakrit. So, as per the area we are talking about. So, sir, do we read that already? What is written there, or?
Yeah, we have read it. It's public.
Okay.
It's public.
Okay.
You give me your email ID, I will send you.
Sure, sir. I'll give you.
Very good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. I come from Rewa, Madhya Pradesh. So, yeah, it was a pleasure to hear from you. Sir, I wanted to know about, you told about 63 rock shelters. So, do all of them belong to the same period, like Buddhist era only, or some of them might
We
be
did
belong
not
to
get
previous
any
era?
microliths or any tools. We were
Yes, sir.
searching for some Paleolithic tools also there, but we did not get it. Maybe we have made a thorough investigation of that area regarding this Paleolithic tools. So these rock shelters was a very good place for the older Stone Age, Middle Stone Age, or microliths that we could get. So we are standing there only at the moment with the Buddhist findings. You pray, you are from
आप
Rewa
सभी का
area.
धन्यवाद.
I think we should, Rewa area, so many Paleolithic sites are reported. It is already reported. And I am sure that Rewa area will give us some evidences of Paleolithic site in nearby this region also. because we have not gone down. Down there is a very steep forest. So we have not, we tried it, but we were not able to go, and forest people stopped us. They said panthers are there, so it's not very safe. But sometime, some evidences we will get. Thank you.
जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं वो हाई टी के दौरान आप पूछ सकते हैं.
Sure. Mr. Rajesh is having my email, so you can take from him and you send me. We will send her all inscriptions which are already read. I've got a full detail of it. I will send you also. Oh, good. You can be in our contact, right? Thank you.
फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे हाई टी की व्यवस्था की गई है. आप सभी वहां पधारें और इससे ग्रहण करें. और कुछ और परिचर्चा करनी हो तो मिश्रा साहब से आप कर सकते हैं उसी जगह पे. धन्यवाद.